Hey there, traveler. I hope you're doing well today in whatever time and space this space looks like for you. Currently, I'm still an anthropological being, still human to my knowledge. And as that is my case, I like to come back to one of the biggest pause buttons for humans. For as I'm aware of most living creatures, it seems like this can serve as a little bit of a pause button. The breath. I know it might be a little redundant in the introductions to be always coming back to the breath, but that's the point. It's something that in this experience we get the opportunity to come back to. When the thoughts are loud, when life's challenges feel too much, when we're stuck in that paralysis, when we don't know what to do, or when we're overcome with joy and we can't catch our breath and we are zooming up the walls with zoomies and engagement, we can come back to the breath, come back to here, come back to now, and can choose how to act instead of just reacting. As we walk the path, sometimes we go through deserts, barren wastelands full of life, teeming with life in a lot of different ways, but are places of extremes. Places where, over time, we're reminded of our overwhelming impermanence. Myself coming from a little desert oasis to itself. Some might call Phoenix a monument to humanity's ignorance in the scale and how they've adapted the environment around them in not necessarily the most sustainable ways. But this place that's always in battle and challenged to stay when in the desert environment wants to reclaim, take back. The forest wants to grow. As vast structures as we make and as permanent as ideas as we might believe in, intrinsically, they're only going to last as long as there's someone to observe them. It's really hard to imagine what humanity's overall legacy and impact will be on this earth. When, as we walk through the desert, the sand keeps eroding. It keeps changing. It keeps morphing. It keeps churning something into something new. The fires of the forest end up causing the rebirth through ash. It's really hard to make a lasting impact on the system that is inherently impermanent, that is constantly changing, because intrinsically, in my opinion, everything you are doing is causing a change and impact. It is creating a legacy, whether you like it or not. It creates change. You create change. You are an active agent in the system. And that's what brings us to this week's question of the week. Something new to meditate on. What legacy do you want to leave on Earth once you're gone? This is a question that's been asked throughout the ages of humanity in our story. I think for the most part, humans want to leave a good impact. You hear all these great heroes of story wanting to change the world and make it a better place. This intrinsic human story that I myself subscribe to. I think fundamentally I do want to make this world a better place through my actions and my legacy. I think that it's an intrinsically selfish motivation to be able to want to be eternal, to want to be able to make a lasting impact that goes outside my mortal life. I think ultimately one of my things in my path and my journey is that I want to be satisfied with the work that I do in my life, as it is, as a genuine expression of myself, regardless of, honestly, the impact that the legacy of it creates. Speaking into my phone here, sitting in just a random room and just yapping to myself, having that be a part of the legacy I do leave behind, right? This authentic expression, this story, my story, specifically in this case. I think that's, again, something I share with a lot of humans of just wanting to make sure that my story's not forgotten, that I don't become a silent Buddha that I've talked about before. Now, the ignorance and the confidence that I have to even claim through even attain Buddhahood when I'm sitting here and still in plenty of clouds of ignorance is astonishing. But as I create more space for myself and create more things, I do take the time and effort to think, what is that impact that I want to make? What do I want to be intentional with the world that I am around? What do I want to be when I grow up? And it comes down to that simple thing, is I want to make the world a better place. And that's challenging. Especially when there's a lot of ingrained systems in this world that I think hurt it really bad. One of the things that's really pissed me off recently, honestly, is that there's a family of wolves that are on the wrong side of a corridor in Arizona. They're on the wrong side of the highway. Basically, conservation efforts and not conservation efforts, but Game and Fish and Wildlife Department in this region have declared that the Mexican gray wolf can only go on one side of the I-40 corridor. Now, I'm someone who doesn't believe that we should just separate and control encampments and wildlife life and like this. I think that nature spaces should have just as a right to access to roam and to be and exist just as much as humans do. And if somehow my efforts and energies can actually help create more equity in the system, in this world, and that actually gets in as crazy of concepts as I believe in radical land redistribution for the wild world around us and the nature environment that we inhabit, that'd be pretty cool. I think that selfishly, realistically, what I want my legacy to be the most is that I'm part of the system that actually helps make an equitable world. But not just anthropological sources, but for all the life around us. I want to be known as an individual who helps changes humanity's influence in how we see and perceive the world, right? Into one that's not dominated by failed revolutions, the corruption of the state, and inequitable views that deny a person's basic agency and identity and personhood. More than anything, I want to be known as someone who's good to my partners, someone who's good to myself, someone who's good to the connections that I share with. I always want to be known as someone who is authentic in that experience and is genuinely there and present for them. I want to be known as someone who is, regardless of the time and space, is known as me, selfishly. When I listen back to these histories, and it's all about how these crazy people who impacted the world in all these amazing ways, and you learn that they were just the shittiest people at home, and they hurt people. I think more than anything, what I want to do to protect my legacy, if I do have the luxury and fortune of being known, it's just knowing that how much love I care for my people. How I do try to respect their personhood and their agency above all else, and try to be the best teammate I can with them. How that is a priority for me. I want people to know that when it comes to the intimate truths and my dynamics and everything like that, is just as much as I believe as I'm preaching out to the world about how I believe in radical land distribution, that people should be treated with equity, and that you can actually walk the talk, you can live the story, and you can be your own expression, authentic, weird, queer fuck. Honestly, though, right? Being an authentic, weird, queer fuck is a beautiful thing. Realizing that according to my identity, I am the boogeyman in a lot of different traditions. While I still don't commit a blood libel, I'm definitely in a line where it does commit a lot of mortal sin, and I'm a globalist, I'm a Jewish descent, I'm queer, I'm trans, all these different elements. And I want to be known as someone who's happy with all those things, who's found peace and the ability to actually help other people and connect with them, and that it doesn't need to rely on some Judeo text to tell them that their worth is, and it has to be some organized in some basic human system that is disconnected from what the actual physical reality is. More than anything, I hope to be known as someone who's here and present with you, traveler. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your space. And as always, you are enough.